broadcast cuts out right before Vegapunk reveals a crucial name connected to the D-Clan, and the ancient Iron Giant plunges underwater, calling out for last time on One Piece. Edison told Stussy to free Kakuving her humanity. Vegapunk confessed his mother Flame powered the destruction of Luluzia, making him an accessory to genocide York found. The broadcast snail hidden in Fabrio face, guarded by the Iron Giant and Vegapunk, revealed Roger's crew learned the full truth about the Void Century pirates on Hachinosu. Hear Vegapunk's message and immediately fantasize about underwater treasure vaults. One guy calculating riches. 200 meters deep, another mocking him, saying ancient cities were not all treasure chests like Shandora. Someone mentions submarines. But the cost kills the idea, and seconds later they are already talking about fishfolk girls processing global flooding and jumping straight into underwater romance jokes. Mont Blanc Cricket absorbs every word and decides to resume his diving mission hunting lost world treasures, finally getting the validation he always wanted, proving his search for Shandora was never delusional. At Marine Hospital GS, the sword unit recovers from Hachinosu while watching the transmission. Helmeppo connects the Pirate King references to the One Piece treasure. Hibari sits in silence. Kobe fights dizziness, trying to process every revelation while healing. Kuyaku reports their commander is recovering but wants privacy. Kobe tells Rear Admiral Prince how fast things escalate. Prince agrees, saying the truth will be hard to accept, and Kujaku insists Sword must act now as the Navy's most flexible unit. Drake listens alone in deep thought. Across the New World, Smoker rides his Billower bike sunglasses. Cigars and arms crossed, calling Tashigi about meeting Sword at the hospital. Safety rules, clearly not his priority. Vegapunk admits he is being vague since guessing further would no longer be factual, and many listeners want to know exactly what Roger's crew learned on Egghead. The Straw Hats see the Frontier Dome, lowering Chopper notes. The cloud stopped expanding. Usopp calculates it is enough to reach the sea. Brook confirms the Sunny is loaded with cola ready for coup de burst. Nami calls Jinbei, who says he is close, but currently chasing Nuzjuro. Nami assumes it is a detour, but Jinbei clarifies Nuzjuro is heading straight for the Thousand Sunny. As Nuzjuro moves to cut the ship, Jinbei performs Kataguruma, throwing Zoro toward him. Zoro unleashes two sword-style restful paradise. Rashomon blocking the strike, their clash, revealing both recognize the cursed Kitetsu lineage before the explosion separates them. Zoro identifies Nuzjuro wielding the supreme grade Shodai Kitetsu and orders the crew to launch, promising he and Jinbei will board mid-escape. Meanwhile, Bonnie calls for Luffy as Marines surround the giant ship. Vice Admiral Howling Gabriel orders its destruction, calling its legendary status irrelevant. Sanji gives up on signals and yells for Luffy. Luffy yells back through flames, telling everyone to prepare for departure. Oimo and Kashi move the ship. Giant warriors advance. Marines fire everywhere. Vice Admiral Doberman rallies them, calling the giants old retirees. But reality proves giant pirates fight like horror movie monsters. Marines attempt to fall back, but Vice Admiral Bluegrass refuses, demanding they uphold justice and push forward. She controls a mechanized sea beast weapon, firing into the giant ship. Kashi is shocked watching the damage, and Doll enters the fight, leaping high, coding her fists and Haki, punching Kashi in the face and continuing with Rock and Roll Blaster, unleashing a barrage of Haki machine gun punches, knocking the giant into the water. Marines see this Vice Admiral beat down a giant, and their morale skyrockets as they charge, screaming they will defeat every pirate. Luffy wonders where the Elders went. Then we cut to 4 of the 5 Elders surrounding the Iron Giant. Vegapunk announces a global message. Mars exchanges telepathic shock with the others. Warcury confirms this matches the Iron Giant that attacked Mary Geoise 200 years ago. Vegapunk speaks to everyone with the D name. Saturn erupts in rage, charging toward the source. Dragon watches in silence. Sabo thinks of Ace and Luffy, remembering Cobra's message. Kobe thinks of Luffy and Garp. Blackbeard leans forward and Beppo thinks of Law. Vegapunk begins to reveal what exists among the D, but a massive flaming boar form smashes the construct, launching it upward. Warcury decides Vegapunk has said enough. The Iron Giant's fall threatens Marine formations. The transmission ends. The last word turning to static. Vivi wonders what was cut. Morgans repeats the importance of the D initial, and the world questions whether the Elders stopped. An even bigger reveal: despite the damage, each Elder used their limited time to protect their interests. York exhales, relieved the broadcast is over. After being tackled, the Iron Giant terrorizes Marines, dragging ships into the depths. The broadcast snail passes out, and fragments of Vegapunk's message echo, and their name was so hinting someone S identity matters. The Iron Giant sinks, questioning Joy Boy's location, wondering if the question is meant for the past or present. That is the episode. Warcury tackling the Iron Giant, cutting the broadcast mid-revelation. The robot sinking, dragging Marines with it. York reporting only Lilith and Atlas survive. And the Iron Giant desperately asking where Joy Boy disappeared. I am calling it now the Iron Giant. S confusion means it can sense Nika as presence but does not realize. Luffy is the current user, and once it hears the drums, it will reactivate for sure. Next episode is the Chopper recap, so let me know if you want that covered. But after that, we get one of the most exciting episodes ever too. Nika's bouncing across the ocean, making the elders panic. Things are about to get insane. And that wraps up this breakdown of the latest One Piece episode. The Iron Giant sinking into the depths, the mystery of the D-name. Hanging in the air and the 5 elders scrambling to contain the truth. Everything is building towards something massive and we can all feel it coming. So let me know what you think about all of this. Do you believe Vegapunk was about to reveal the name we have all been waiting for? Do you think the Iron Giant is reacting to Luffy as the current NECA? And what do you think the elders are planning next? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to read every single theory you guys have. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown and make sure you subscribe so you do not miss the next episode review. Things are only getting crazier from here and we are heading straight into some of the wildest moments Egghead has ever delivered. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.
Man, the 5 old guys at the top of the world finally tracked down the location of Vegapunk's transmission snail, and Sanji, the most stubborn cook on the planet, jumps right back into the chaos to try his luck against Zoro for the second time. The guy literally looked at the sky and thought, God, just give me one more try this time, it's gonna work. In the previous episode, the Straw Hats turned Saturn into a real demonic yo-yo just to protect Robin, while Vegapunk out of nowhere dropped the biggest historical bomb in the anime, revealing that there's an ancient war that never ever ended. Meanwhile, at the Labo Stratum, Edison, who looks like a coffee machine running out of battery, calls Stussy and says drop the dome and run before everyone turns into dust, but she all emotional says she want to leave the crew while they still in danger. Edison tries to argue that no barrier works since the Gorosei passed through everything like Kondo ghosts. Mars is smashing communications nails like Trakinus cookies, and Edison is already in the mode, well, I did what I could, now it's up to them. Stussy starts getting sentimental, saying she was afraid of disappointing Vegapunk, and Edison goes for the classic for God's sake woman, run before I reformat your DNA. But she starts philosophizing like it's the end of Evangeline without Stella, who do I live for now? And then comes the emotional plot twist. She asks him to release Kaku. Edison and Kaku are like, what? And she explains she doesn't want to see the guy paying for her mistakes. Edison realizes he may have been too hard on her, apologizes, and admits she built real bombs with her former CPO partners. Meanwhile, Jinbe's in bolt mode running with Zoro on his back. Nami is yelling over the communicator, where are you guys? And Zoro replies, all calm, we're on our way, which obviously sends Nami into Super Saiyan rage mode. She sees the Navy ships closing in and shouts, if you lose the ship, I lines never talk to you again. Meanwhile, Alice is carrying Vegapunk's body onto the Sunny. In the arena, Sanji is literally on fire, charging at Zoro with a kick so strong you could light a cigarette with the impact, but the Gorosei blocks with his black sword and slams Sanji to the ground with the force of a truck down a hill. The giants try to help. One grabs the skeleton horse's tail, the other tries a coordinated strike. And Bunny comes flying and trying to hit the beast from another angle, but Zoro blocks everything with his hand, pushes them away, and even kicks a third giant. Then he draws his black sword in midair, ready to turn Bonnie into sashimi, but Frankie comes flying and tackles her and saves the day. The girl is totally worn out, no strength left to keep her transformation. Frankie realizes she burned all her energy on the distorted future. Zoro decides he's wasted enough time on these mere insects and flies up, going straight for the real target, Vegapunk's transmission snail. And that's when the scientist drops the second bomb of the day. The Void Sentry ended with the defeat of Joy Boy. The images show the Iron Giant and Zunisha full of sadness, like they've already seen the end of One Piece before us. While Zoro slices a cloud in half with one blow, Vegapunk begins to explain the true collapse of the ancient world. He says the disaster that wiped out continents was caused by an advanced civilization that was literally swallowed by the ocean. The whole planet starts reacting. Revolutionaries drop their jaws. Marines nearly faint. And even people from small villages like Kokoyashi are in shock. Vegapunk reveals that the sea level rose by 200 meters in just 1 century. 200 meters. The Marines' short-circuit radar ships are 60 meters tall. How could everything be swallowed? And then they realize what Vegapunk meant. The current islands are just fragments of what's left of the old world. In other parts of the world, people start laughing, calling Vegapunk a liar. Dalton in the Sokola Kingdom questions if that's even possible, and Dr. Korea, who has lived longer than Oda, laughs, saying this world never stops being fun. Vegapunk then explains the disaster wasn't natural, it was caused by ancient weapons created by humans themselves. Morgan yells that it's alive. Vivi shuts his beak, and the whole planet panics. The scientist states that the same power still exists, the same one that destroyed the kingdom of Luluzia using the energy of the mother flame, meaning the world could sink again. Cut to Imu with those evil red eyes staring at the portrait of Nefertari, Lily, and yes, my friends, the creature has been obsessed with her for centuries, the oldest stalker in history. Vegapunk remorseful apologizes to humanity. He admits the fragment of the mother flame was stolen and used as fuel for destruction. The man falls to his knees, confessing that unintentionally he became an accomplice to global genocide. The entire world is in shock. Revolutionaries, kings, everyone, even Momonosuke tries to comment about Pluton, and Crocodile shows up reminding everyone that was always his goal. Vegapunk connects everything, saying the ancient weapons were Joy Boy's legacy for future generations, including Poseidon, who is Princess Shirahoshi. He wonders if Joy Boy wanted to destroy or save the world, but believes the answer will come with time. Meanwhile, Sengoku is stuffing himself with cookies, and Suru has to remind the old man to breathe because he is so shocked he forgot how. And then comes the final warning. Vegapunk says that all nations of the world must prepare because the danger of a new sunken world could happen at any time, regardless of side nation or flag. And 2. Close it all with a golden key. Vegapunk reveals that there is a group who knows the full truth about the Void Century. The Roger Pirates Akainu is literally steaming with rage. The Marines are stunned, and at the lighthouse, old Krogus, who was part of Roger's crew, just watches the sea in silence with that look of someone who has known the ending for decades. But it doesn't stop there. York, one of Vegapunk's satellites, is losing her mind because he knew everything. Even without synchronizing memories with her, she tries to warn the Gorosei that the transmission snail is protected by the Iron Giant, and the old guys are already heading up to solve it with pure chaos. Meanwhile, in Sabaody, Really is completely drunk, complaining that Vegapunk is ruining the fun, saying, now it's the new generation's turn to seek the truth, and in the end comes the message that melts everyone's brain. Joy Boy never wanted to destroy the world, he was trying to prepare the future to survive, and that's how episode 1149 of One Piece ends, leaving the entire world in chaos. Vegapunk's words echoing across every sea, the Gorosei preparing for war, and the Straw Hats caught right in the middle of the storm. The secrets of the Void Century are finally starting to surface. And every island, every kingdom, and every pirate crew now knows the truth is closer than ever, but at what cost? The ancient weapons, the Mother Flame, the fall of Joy Boy, it all leads to one thing, the final era of One Piece has already begun, so get ready because what's coming next will shake the world to its core. This was episode 1149, and if you thought this one was crazy, the next one is gonna blow your mind. The secret of Joy Boy is finally revealed when Vegapunk announces that he was the first pirate to confront the world government. The ancient war that sank continents is still ongoing today, and we learned that the planet has risen to 100 meters in a century. Watch until the end to see Doflamingo calculating his survival strategy in Impel Down. Last time in One Piece, Sanji kicked an elder who bled. Vegapunk broadcast his message on global television, and Mars discovered something impossible inside Punk Records. At Marine headquarters, they hear Vegapunk drop the Doomsday Bomb, wondering if this genius realizes he just told billions they are drowning pirates in Mock Town. Burst into laughter, calling Vegapunk a clown seeking attention. They think planetary sinking sounds like drunken talk the people of Water 7 take it more seriously, fighting floods every year, but Even Polly thinks there's a difference between the Aqua Laguna season and the entire planet becoming an ocean cut to Impel Down, where Doflamingo makes his return. The guy is laughing as if he won the lottery while locked in a maximum security prison. He starts provoking Magellan, asking how the poison expert plans to stop seawater from turning level 6 into an aquarium. Magellan realizes the psychopath has a 0.1 meter of elevation already ruined. Their lower cells. Doflamingo calculates that 5 meters would sink most cities. Before suggesting evacuation upward, this fallen celestial dragon who flew with string powers suddenly talks about going higher. He is definitely thinking about Sky Islands. You retelling me this guy has been planning his prison escape fire apocalypse. That's next level scheming. Down in Fishman Island, Princess Shirahoshi asks her father if it is real. Even King Neptune, the guy who lives underwater, finds it hard to believe. Back on Egghead, the Marines surrounding the island cannot dismiss it coming from the world's smartest man, but Vice Admiral Hound calls it delusion anyway. The 5 elders are disturbed, realizing they've gone from controlling broadcast damage to planning the genocide of every person Mars can detect. York paces around Lobo Stratum, annoyed by his creator-esque speech. Vegapunk, even dead, makes a prediction. Sensory data indicate a massive earthquake will hit the planet days after the recording. The citizens of Alabasta are shocked on Whole Cake Island. Smoothie is astonished because they felt this earthquake today, meaning the already deceased Vegapunk predicted the future. He adds sea levels will rise 1 meter, sweeping away islands and coastlines. People dealing with the current crisis panic. Tangent listens as Vegapunk says, "Ignore me if I'm wrong." In Hatchosu, it sounds ominous. Cues and listens with a stern face. Since the predictions came true, Stella demands full attention to what comes next. What's scarier than a scientist predicting earthquakes? A dead scientist whose predictions keep coming true. The Straw Hats battles Saturn while Vegapunk reveals the earthquake was not natural. Everyone charges at Saturn with Lilith posing while Chopper looks like he has seen better days. Saturn enrages, demanding the broadcast be stopped. Stella admits she naively wanted world peace. Robin catches fallen crewmates with hand nets. Saturn uses Chopper as a springboard, targeting something specific. Vegapunk says this desire caused his first since Saturn asks Mars about the power plant. Mars replies he has taken care of it while preserving the room's contents, while Saturn smashes walls at incredible speed. Stella wanted unlimited clean energy for climate control and food production. Worldwide, Saturn shields his eyes, and we finally see the mother flame glowing with power. Vegapunk compares himself to Icarus flying too close to the sun. Saturn returns to human form and crushes everything with his cane. The elders decide to kill all living beings on the island. While the mother flame continues pulsing elsewhere, this scientist really built doomsday fuel and then was like, oops, I am kind of a tragic Greek hero, setting an example. Zero warning signs. Right, the Marines continue failing to damage the ancient walking robot. Luffy reactivates Gear 5 Dory and Froggy hate the spreading fire. Vegapunk says understanding the future requires examining 900 to 800 years ago, the period everyone calls the Void Century. You observes as the celestial dragons rage at the Marines' failure to cut the broadcast. Vegapunk names it the Void Century. Although our records were destroyed, one thing allows modern people to unlock secrets. The celestial nobles want to punish him personally. Saint Shalulia seems confused, asking what the Void Century means. The world nobles don't know about the Void Century, explaining why they constantly make terrible decisions. A giant sits alone in the forest. While Vegapunk mentions poneglyphs, ancient stones scattered worldwide with decodable inscriptions revealing lost history. In Orangetown, a child tells Boodle that 20 kings created modern civilization, asking if Vegapunk knows more. Boodle hesitates, even joking maybe Chow Chow, the dog, knows. The dogs also listen. Vegapunk reminds everyone that reading poneglyphs is prohibited by the world government, making this his second major crime, betraying authority to study the forbidden century Stella inherited. O'Hara's documents without naming them, specifically allowing him to decode poneglyphs without regrets, since history is just history. After all, the Straw Hats notice the ground moving. Nami sees clouds stretching. Brook tells Usopp this might be Edison's plan. Usopp confirms the repositioning of clouds let them explode directly into the ocean thanks to Edison's sacrifice, but he is badly injured, hoping the Straw Hats escape. World government capture. Vegapunk says he only knows a fraction of the century-old history, so instead of speculating, he will stick to confirmed facts, which means everything that follows is indisputable. Froggy desperately yells at Luffy to stop. Vegapunk identifies the main character of the ancient story. Luffy insists on punching the giant boar demon incompetent. His next attack will work. Vegapunk describes a man born in an advanced kingdom 9 centuries ago who, like not the sun god of Elbaf, was called Joy Boy. Luffy's fist ignites again. His giant friends laugh despite the danger, definitely matching the power it represents. Hopefully, Luffy is building resistance to the Elder's defenses through repetition. Looking upward with nostalgia, Vegapunk declares Joy Boy was the first sailor. The original pirate. Every Jolly Roger in history traces back to this single man whom the government has demonized for centuries. In Wano in the Flower capital, the Straw Hat flag hangs beneath the Shogun's house. Despite isolation, they listen via Den Mushi found among Orochi's belongings. After announcing that Joy Boy pioneered piracy, Vegapunk explains how it happened. Momonosuke and Tama eat dango with Kinmen Shinobu and the samurai. Momo is fascinated that Joy Boy was like Luffy. As a pirate, Kinmen is intrigued that the Shogun knew the ancient figure. We jump to the detention of Marine G for where that lunatic pretending to be Luffy now poses as Eustace Kid. After his defeat, his fake henchmen are unfazed by the news about Joy Boy. Confident their captain easily defeats the ancient pirate. Demelo agrees since the guy is dead. The fake crew admires their leader's confidence, only rivaled by his appetite. The serial imposter cheerfully claims to be 1,000,000 times stronger than this toy. Joy Marines and Egghead are left jaw-dropped. Vegapunk clarifies conclusions from limited access to poneglyphs. However, the history they piece together shows a massive war centuries ago. He adds Joy Boy fought a specific enemy, the organization now called the World Government. The Marines are even more stunned, realizing which side they are on makes sense since Joy Boy was labeled a pirate. The historical war erupts as Luffy and the giants charge, shouting Vegapunk's name. The Doctor says the historical World Government was the Allied powers, 20 temporarily united kingdoms. Elsewhere, Mars is not the only enraged elder. He tears through areas, knocking out every nearby Den Mushi with conquerors. Haki. Vegapunk continues, he theorized that such an alliance was the only way to counter Joy Boy's powerful faction. The visuals show a Gear 5-like figure leaping over multiple kings. Unfortunately, Vegapunk doesn't know what started the conflict, so he won't morally judge either side. He only confirms that opposing ideologies clashed. Stella reflects on Joy Boy starting a civilization beyond imagination. Zunisha, who knew Joy Boy, falls silent, reflecting. Vegapunk says the place was so technologically advanced, unbelievable. For over 9 centuries ago, the Minks of Zoo gather, hearing that weapons from this century-long war surpass modern science, and that Vegapunk's technology already exceeds current tech by centuries. The new Mink leader is amazed, while the musketeers remain silent. Foxy clucks from his ship, missing the Jolly Roger Luffy created. Only the ship's bow apparently survived. He calls Vegapunk delusional, even labeling the scientist punitive, which triggers Hungry. Richie Foxy corrects himself and simply says the guy has a big head, making Hamburg laugh. Vegapunk admits that ancient innovations even left his genius perplexed, and these innovations formed the basis of the problem here. As what you might have missed, Joy Boy being the first pirate means every Jolly Roger in history continues his fight against the world government. The Allied powers were not heroes, they were 20 kingdoms united specifically to crush Joy Boy's side. Doflamingo talking about going upward gives a hint. The ocean rising 200 meters in a century is naturally impossible, so ancient weapons caused it. These weapons still exist. And you just used one on the moon, proving Vegapunk was right. The war never stopped. Everyone lived in a ceasefire, unaware of who their opponents were. I am saying now Vegapunk's next revelation will explain what Joy Boy's kingdom wanted and why 20 kingdoms feared it enough to unite, and it will tie directly to the One Piece treasure. This is the episode if seeing Vegapunk reveal Joy Boy's identity and show that the war never ended while Doflamingo plots his escape. Got you hyped? Subscribe and tell me which revelation blew your mind more, Joy Boy being the first pirate or the planet jumping 200 meters? Throw your theories because this changes everything.